On an ordinary morning, Sam Carter never imagined that one small act of kindness would change his life forever. As he walked down his familiar street, he came across an old man sitting on the cold sidewalk, ragged and worn. His face, weathered with age and hardship, told a story of a life filled with struggles. Sam, though hungry himself, felt a surge of empathy. With nothing more than a small sandwich he had prepared for himself, Sam offered it to the man. Little did he know that single, selfless gesture would open a door to an entirely new future, one that he had never dared to dream of before. The next day, the sound of a luxury car pulling up in front of his home would leave him speechless. Marcus, the man he helped, was no longer a stranger, but someone who held the power to change their lives forever. Sam Carter's world is small. His apartment, tucked away in a rundown building on the edge of the city, seems to shrink a little more each day. The walls are thin, the floorboards creak, and the constant hum of the nearby freeway serves as a reminder of how disconnected they are from the rest of the world. It's a world where survival takes precedence over dreams, where every month feels like a battle, and where the heavy weight of overdue bills never quite lifts. Sam shares this cramped space with his mother, Diane, and his younger sister, Lily. Diane, a woman whose tired eyes speak volumes about the years of exhaustion and worry, works 2 jobs just to keep their heads above water. Her hands, calloused from cleaning houses and managing shifts at a diner, carry the burden of a mother's love and sacrifice. Despite her own fatigue, Diane never allows Sam or Lily to see the depth of her stress. She smiles through the worry lines, finding the strength to carry them all, even on the days when her own shoulders feel like they might break. Lily, only 8 years old, is still oblivious to the struggles their family faces. She spends her days lost in her world of dolls and make-believe, unaware of the financial stress that gnaws at their family. But Sam knows. At 16, he's the oldest, the one who's starting to understand the magnitude of their situation. Sam's responsibilities weigh heavily on him, especially as he watches his mother work tirelessly. He often wonders if things will ever get better, or if their lives will always be marked by struggle. The morning light creeps through the thin curtains in Sam's room, casting a pale glow on the worn mattress he shares with Lily. The scent of stale bread drifts through the apartment as Diane gets up early, her footsteps light as she moves through the small kitchen. Sam knows the drill by heart. He has to help his mother, even if it's just a little, because that's what families do. The clock is ticking, and the little they have needs to stretch as far as possible. He slips out of bed, careful not to wake Lily, and heads for the kitchen. The space is cramped. There's barely enough room for the stove, a small fridge, and a worn-out table where they eat their meals together. Sam can feel the emptiness in his stomach, but he doesn't dare complain. He's used to it. Diane's voice is soft, almost hesitant as she turns to him. "Good morning, Sam. We're going to be okay," she says, trying to reassure him as she flips a pancake, though the tiredness in her voice betrays her uncertainty. She forces a smile, her eyes scanning the sparse cupboard for anything they can use to stretch out breakfast. Sam nods, but his mind drifts. His mother's smile always seems a little too thin these days, as if the weight of their situation is becoming harder to mask. But he doesn't voice his concerns. He can't. Not with Lily bouncing around the apartment, humming as she dresses herself for school. Sam doesn't want her to see how much it hurts when Diane looks at the bills and tries to figure out how to make them last until the next paycheck. He quietly makes the decision to take on a bigger role. Diane doesn't need to carry it all on her own. Not anymore. He's old enough to help. He begins by making their breakfast, with what little they have left in the fridge. A couple of eggs, some stale bread for toast, and the last of the peanut butter. It's simple, but it's something. "Sam, you're doing well. Just like always," Diane says as she watches him work. "You're a good kid." Sam smiles, a little bittersweet. He knows she's trying to reassure him, trying to make him feel like they're not drowning. But inside, he's worried. The bills are piling up. Rent is due again, and they're already late. The money his mom makes barely covers the essentials, and Sam doesn't even want to think about the future, let alone what will happen if they can't pay the rent this month. As they sit down for breakfast, the silence feels louder than usual. Diane sips her coffee, her brow furrowed, and Sam can't help but feel the weight of her exhaustion. Lily babbles on about her day at school, talking excitedly about a new drawing she made for her class project. It's the one bright spot in their mornings. Lily's innocence and joy always seem to bring light to the dark corners of their lives. But Sam knows that light can't last forever. The future, in his mind, is an abstract concept, one that seems just out of reach. He wonders, as he eats his half-hearted breakfast, if things will ever change. Will they always struggle like this? Will he ever get the chance to go to college, to escape the life that seems to have already been mapped out for him? Work long hours, scrape by, just like his mother? Or will he, too, be trapped in a cycle that repeats itself for generations? Sam wants to believe in a better future. He wants to hold on to the possibility that things will improve. But there's always that nagging voice in the back of his mind, telling him that no matter how hard they try, they'll never break free from this. They're stuck in a loop, and the weight of the bills, the rent, the struggle to get by each day is starting to feel heavier than he can carry. Still, he doesn't want to burden his mother. She's been through so much. She's worked so hard, and yet he can see the cracks in her facade. Diane tries to smile, tries to be strong for him, but Sam can see it. The fear in her eyes, the exhaustion that never truly leaves her face. And for the first time, Sam feels it too. The uncertainty of the future weighs heavily on him. But there's a spark of something else in him now. A quiet, deep-seated hope. Maybe he can do something. Maybe, just maybe, there's a way out of this. He doesn't know how yet, but he's willing to try. It's another cold morning as Sam walks to school, the chill biting at his cheeks and the wind making his thin jacket feel like it's barely doing its job. He's used to this, used to the hunger that tugs at his stomach, the frost that clings to the streets of their neighborhood, the dampness that seeps through his worn sneakers. He pulls the collar of his jacket up higher, trying to shield himself from the wind, but it doesn't help much. Today, like most days, he feels the gnawing emptiness inside him, the anticipation of lunch seeming so far away. Sam's mind drifts as he walks along the cracked sidewalk, lost in thoughts of the bills that still need to be paid and the constant threat of eviction that hangs over their heads. His mother, Diane, always tries to keep things light for him and Lily, but Sam can see the strain in her eyes, the way her shoulders sag a little more each day. When he reaches the corner of Elm and Fifth, the world around him fades for a moment as he spots something, or rather, someone, that catches his attention. Sitting against the closed storefront of a now-defunct bakery is an old man. His face is deeply lined with age, his hair a patchwork of gray and white. He's hunched over, wrapped in layers of tattered clothes that offer little protection against the cold. His eyes are half closed, and his hands rest limply in his lap, as if he doesn't have the strength to lift them. There's something about the way the man looks, so defeated, so empty, that stirs something in Sam's chest. Sam keeps walking, telling himself to keep going, to just focus on getting to school. But his eyes keep drifting back to the man, to his sad, worn face. Sam's stomach growls again, reminding him of the sandwich he has tucked inside his backpack. It's all he has until dinner, just a simple peanut butter sandwich, a sad meal for a hungry teenager. For a moment, Sam hesitates, unsure of what to do, his feet slow, his mind racing. He knows he doesn't have much, but something inside him urges him to give. He's always been taught to help those in need, to share when he can, even if it means giving up something of your own. But today, that act feels heavier than usual. Still, his heart aches with a kind of compassion that he can't ignore. He reaches into his bag, pulling out the sandwich. The man, noticing the motion, looks up at Sam with eyes that are dull and clouded, as if he's been lost in his own world for too long. There's a pause, an unspoken moment where their eyes meet. Sam sees the exhaustion in the old man's gaze, the weariness that matches his own in many ways. Sam swallows hard, feeling the tightness in his throat. "Here," he says quietly, his voice almost a whisper. "You need this more than I do." The man blinks, slow and unsure, as though he's trying to process the simple kindness in front of him. His hands tremble as he reaches out for the sandwich, his fingers brushing against Sam's. There's no fanfare, no gratitude shouted loudly, just a quiet acceptance. The old man nods slightly, and Sam can see the faintest flicker of something in his eyes. Maybe gratitude, maybe surprise, but most of all, Sam sees something else. A shared understanding. Sam watches as the man carefully unwraps the sandwich, the plastic crinkling softly in the cold air. For a moment, they both remain in silence, Sam standing just a few steps away, the weight of his empty stomach growing heavier by the second, but also somehow lighter, as though this small act of kindness has lifted some invisible burden. The man takes a slow bite, chewing carefully, almost as if savoring the moment. Sam's chest tightens, and his mind races. He knows he'll be hungry by lunch, maybe even by the time he gets home. But none of that matters in this moment. He doesn't regret giving the sandwich away. Not one bit. After a while, Sam turns to leave, but before he takes another step, he looks back. The man is still eating, his eyes now fixed on Sam, watching him with a kind of quiet acknowledgement. They exchange a brief glance, nothing more than a passing moment of recognition. It's strange, really, how something so small can feel so significant. But in that moment, Sam feels as though they've shared something that transcends words. A connection, born out of shared hardship and the simple, unspoken understanding that life is tough, but kindness still exists, even in the most unlikely places. As Sam walks away, his heart feels unexpectedly lighter. The emptiness in his stomach doesn't seem so overwhelming now. There's a sense of fulfillment deep inside him, a feeling of having done something that truly mattered, even if it was just a sandwich. He knows it won't change his life or the world around him, but it's enough for today. It's enough to know that he helped someone else, that for just a moment, the world wasn't just about his own survival. The walk to school, which normally drags on, now feels quicker, as though something has shifted in Sam. He wonders about the man, about his life, and why he's sitting there alone. But most of all, Sam wonders what the act of kindness really means. He has so little to give, yet somehow it feels like he's given something profound. Something he didn't know he was capable of. He arrives at school just in time for the bell to ring, but his thoughts linger on the encounter with Marcus, the old man who, for all Sam knows, might have been a permanent part of the neighborhood, sitting in the cold and asking for nothing. Sam feels the warmth of his small gesture radiating inside him, even as his stomach protests, reminding him that he's still hungry. But this time, Sam doesn't mind the emptiness, because today the hunger doesn't feel as isolating. Today, he's learned something important. Kindness isn't just about the act itself. It's about the connection it creates, the bond formed through simple human gestures. And that bond, that shared understanding, is what makes all the difference. By the time the lunch bell rings and Sam sits down with his classmates, he feels a sense of peace that he hasn't felt in a long time. As others pull out their packed lunches and snacks, Sam sits quietly, his mind still on the old man. The hunger gnaws at him, yes, but there's something else there too, something that fills the space that food can't reach. Hope. Hope that maybe, just maybe, he's not alone in this world. The morning after Sam's quiet act of kindness, he wakes to a sense of peace he hasn't felt in a long time. The sandwich he gave to Marcus had been a small thing, something he could easily part with, but the feeling it left behind was much bigger. Sam felt lighter walking to school that morning, even with the same gnawing hunger in his stomach. The simple truth that he had helped someone, truly helped, seemed to shift something deep inside him. As Sam walks back home that afternoon, lost in his thoughts about the old man, something unexpected happens. A sleek, black luxury car pulls up in front of their building. It's an extravagant vehicle, one that shines against the backdrop of the weathered apartment complex. Sam's first instinct is to ignore it. After all, what business could a car like that have in their neighborhood? But the car comes to a stop, and Sam's attention is caught by something even stranger. A tall figure steps out from the back seat of the car. For a moment, Sam doesn't recognize the person. He's too well dressed, too refined. The man's suit is sharp, tailored to perfection, and his shoes gleam in the afternoon sun. He looks nothing like the man Sam had met just the day before, sitting by the store, frail and hungry, his face drawn and weary. Sam's breath catches in his throat. Could it really be Marcus? The man, noticing Sam staring, smiles warmly and approaches him. There's a calm confidence in his movements, a far cry from the broken figure Sam had met only hours before. Sam feels a wave of confusion wash over him. How could someone change so drastically overnight? As Marcus gets closer, Sam's mind races. Could this be a joke? Was Marcus playing some kind of game with him? He doesn't know what to say, but his mouth feels dry. This man looks like someone who doesn't belong in Sam's world. A man whose life has clearly changed in ways Sam can't even begin to understand. "Sam," Marcus says, his voice warm and kind. "I'm glad to see you. I wanted to thank you again for what you did yesterday. It really meant a lot to me." Sam blinks, still trying to make sense of what's happening. "Thank me?" he asks, his voice uncertain. "For what? I just gave you a sandwich." Marcus nods, his expression thoughtful. "It wasn't just a sandwich, Sam. That simple act of kindness changed my life." Sam's heart skips a beat. How could something so small have such a huge impact? Marcus explains that he had once been in a similar position to Sam, a man broken by years of hardship, unable to see a way out. For years, he struggled with poverty, homelessness, and the constant feeling of hopelessness that came with it. He tells Sam how he wandered the streets, how his life felt like it was on the edge of collapse, and how he had almost given up. But then, one day, a stranger had offered him help, a simple act of kindness that changed the course of his life. That small gesture of generosity had restored Marcus's belief in people, and in himself. "You see, Sam," Marcus continues, his eyes gleaming with sincerity, "I've spent most of my life trying to survive. But that kindness I received years ago, well, it helped me see that there's more to life than just scraping by. I turned my life around because someone reached out, just like you did. And now, I want to pass that kindness forward." Sam stands frozen, trying to process everything Marcus is saying. The weight of his words hits Sam like a wave. A simple sandwich, a gesture so small it had barely registered in Sam's mind at the time, had made a difference so profound in Marcus's life. Sam can hardly wrap his head around it, but he feels the truth in Marcus's words. He realizes then that kindness can ripple outward in ways that are beyond his understanding. Marcus smiles gently, sensing Sam's hesitation. "I've made it, Sam. I found success after years of struggle, but the thing is, it's not about the money. It's about what you can do with it. And right now, I want to help you." Sam stands there, his thoughts swirling. He had no idea what Marcus meant by help. What could this man possibly want from him? A few moments ago, Sam had felt a quiet bond with Marcus, a connection born from that small act of kindness. But now, this man was offering something much bigger, and Sam didn't know how to react. Marcus steps closer, his eyes full of genuine care. "I want to sponsor your education, Sam. You deserve better than what life has given you so far. You deserve a future, and I want to make sure you get one." Sam's heart stutters in his chest. "My education?" he asks, still in disbelief. "But we don't have the money for that. My mom, she's working 2 jobs just to keep us afloat. We can't afford anything like that." "I know," Marcus replies, his voice steady. "That's why I'm offering to help. I've built connections with schools, with programs that help young people like you. You don't have to worry about the costs. All I ask is that you give it your best shot." The words hang in the air, impossible to grasp. Sam looks at Marcus, still unsure. He can't fathom why someone like Marcus would want to help him, a teenager from a broken family, with nothing to offer but the kindness he showed to a stranger. It doesn't make sense. "But that's not all," Marcus continues, as if reading Sam's mind. "I can also help your mother. She's been working too hard, Sam. She deserves better than this. I know people in businesses, in companies who are looking for someone with her skills. I'll connect her with them, help her find a stable, well-paying job. She won't have to worry about working herself into the ground anymore." Sam feels a lump rise in his throat. He thinks about his mother, how hard she works, how exhausted she looks every night when she finally comes home. Sam always wished there was something he could do to take that burden off her shoulders. And now Marcus is offering to help. It seems too good to be true. "I thank you," Sam says, his voice barely a whisper. He doesn't know what else to say. He's overwhelmed by the generosity, unsure how to process the magnitude of what's being offered. Marcus places a hand on Sam's shoulder, a comforting gesture that only adds to the warmth he already feels. "You don't have to thank me, Sam. I'm just giving you what you deserve, a chance. I've been where you are. I know how it feels to have nothing. I'm giving back, because that's what was given to me." Sam looks up at Marcus, his heart racing with a mix of excitement and fear. Can this really be happening? Can they really change their lives this way? His mind spins with the possibilities, the thought of a future where he doesn't have to worry about his next meal, his next paycheck, where he can dream without the weight of constant hardship crushing him. "Just take the opportunity, Sam. Do your best," Marcus says, his voice firm but kind. "I'll be here to help you every step of the way." As Marcus turns to leave, his car waiting for him by the curb, Sam stands still, rooted to the spot. His mind is racing. For the first time in his life, Sam feels like he might have a real chance at something more, something beyond survival. "Thank you," Sam whispers again, more to himself than to Marcus, his heart full of hope and gratitude. Marcus nods and smiles, his eyes warm with understanding. "You're welcome, Sam. I believe in you." As the luxury car pulls away, Sam stands there for a moment longer, watching the vehicle disappear down the street. He can hardly believe it, but something inside him tells him that this moment, this day, is the beginning of something much bigger. And for the first time, Sam feels as though the future isn't so far out of reach after all. The weight of Marcus's offer hangs in the air long after he leaves, the luxury car disappearing down the street. Diane stands in the living room, holding the stack of bills in one hand, the business card Marcus left with her in the other. She feels the heat of her kitchen sink against her palm, the pressure of the decision mounting within her chest. For the past several years, Diane has fought to keep her family afloat, often at the expense of her own well-being. The late-night cleaning shifts, the scrubbing of floors until her hands bled, the exhaustion that left her with barely enough energy to help Lily with her homework. It has all been for this moment, for them to survive. But Marcus's offer is something new, something entirely different, and right now it feels almost impossible to trust. She tries to push away the thoughts of skepticism, the doubts that creep in when things seem too good to be true. Diane can't help but wonder about the catch. What does Marcus want in return for all this help? And even more pressing, why would a man like him want to help someone like her, someone so far removed from the world he seems to inhabit? She's worked her entire life, always just scraping by, and now a stranger, a man she barely knows, is offering to change all of that. Sam's face flashes in her mind. She can see the hope that ignited in his eyes when Marcus spoke of sponsoring his education and offering a better life for their family. She wants to believe it. She wants to believe that there's a way out, a way to give her children something more than the constant worry of bills and rent. But trust doesn't come easily to Diane. She's learned the hard way not to put too much faith in people who promise the world only to walk away when things get tough. The fear of making the wrong choice presses down on her. What if Marcus isn't who he says he is? What if accepting his help brings more trouble than it's worth? But then, the other side of her, the side that's been fighting for years, struggling to keep them going, reminds her that they can't continue living this way. They can't keep holding on to a hope that's slowly slipping through their fingers. Maybe it's time, Diane mutters under her breath, her fingers curling around the card. She knows she can't make this decision alone. Sam's future is at stake too. And despite the skepticism, she sees something in Sam's eyes when he talks about Marcus's offer, something that tells her that he truly believes this could be the change they've been waiting for. Diane exhales slowly, her heart heavy but resolute. It's time to take a leap of faith. Later that evening, after Diane has spent hours pondering the decision, Marcus shows up again. This time, there is no luxury car. Instead, he arrives in a modest vehicle, his appearance slightly less polished but still dignified. He carries with him a quiet sense of purpose, his steps steady as he enters the apartment, glancing around at the familiar but worn surroundings. Diane and Sam greet him, though there's an obvious tension in the air. Diane, ever the protector of her family, isn't ready to throw open the doors just yet. She wants answers, real answers this time. "Marcus," Diane says, her voice firm but not unkind, "I need to know more. Why are you doing this? Why offer help to someone like me, someone who's been struggling all her life?" Marcus takes a moment, his eyes softening with understanding. "I've been where you are, Diane. I know how it feels to work yourself to the bone, to never be able to catch up. And I know the cost of ignoring opportunities because you're afraid of being let down. When I was your age, I didn't have anyone who could help me. But I was given a chance, and I want to make sure you don't miss yours." Diane listens intently, the weight of his words sinking in. "You've turned your life around," she says, her voice a little quieter now. "But how do I know you're not just taking advantage of you?" Marcus interrupts gently. "I can see why you would think that. It's hard to trust when life has shown you the worst. But I'm not asking for anything in return. I'm offering you what was offered to me, a chance to break free from the cycle." Sam, who has been standing off to the side listening quietly, steps forward. "Mom," he says, his voice filled with the kind of sincerity only a child in his position could possess. "I think we should take it. I think this could really be our way out." Diane's eyes flicker between her son and Marcus. Sam's words, filled with the kind of hope she hasn't seen in him for years, pierce her heart. She has always tried to protect her children, shield them from disappointment. But she realizes, with a deep sense of sadness, that she hasn't been able to shield them from the harsh realities of life. Maybe it's time to let someone else help her for once. She turns to Marcus, the decision finally settling in her chest. "All right," she says, her voice steady but tinged with uncertainty. "We'll take the chance, but I need to know more about how this works. What do we do next?" Marcus's face lights up with a soft, reassuring smile. "Thank you, Diane. You've made the right choice. Let's talk about the opportunities I've arranged for Sam, and then we'll discuss how we can find you something that suits your skills. There's no turning back now. It's all about moving forward." As the evening wears on, Sam can't help but feel a sense of excitement building inside him. The conversation with Marcus has been filled with promises of a better future. But more than anything, Sam is excited by the possibilities. For the first time in his life, he feels like he's being given a real chance. A chance to be more than just a survivor, more than someone who's always struggling to make ends meet. But with that excitement comes a twinge of anxiety. Sam's always been a realist, and while he wants to believe that Marcus's offer is genuine, he's still not sure. What if things don't work out? What if they end up even worse than before? The weight of that uncertainty hangs in the air, but Sam refuses to let it overwhelm him. For the first time in years, he feels like there's a real path ahead of him. He's been stuck in survival mode for so long, just trying to make it to the next day. But now, with Marcus's help, it feels like there's something bigger at play. The future is no longer an abstract idea. It's something tangible, something within reach. Sam spends the rest of the evening preparing for his new school program, the one that Marcus arranged. It's an after-school program designed to help kids like Sam get ahead in life, offering mentorship and opportunities that could set him on a different path. As he packs his bag, he feels a sense of nervous anticipation. He doesn't know what to expect, but for the first time, he's ready to face it. The next morning, as he heads out for the program, Sam feels a sense of hope he's never had before. The future is still uncertain, but now there's a chance. A chance to do something better, something that doesn't just involve getting by, but actually living. As Sam walks to the program, he reflects on everything that's happened. The man he met by the store, Marcus, a stranger who had been down on his luck and is now offering to change their lives, has given him hope. He knows it's not going to be easy, but for the first time, Sam believes that things can get better. Today is the start of something new, and Sam is ready for it. Just as hope begins to take root in their small apartment, reality comes crashing back in. The morning sunlight barely breaks through the thick curtains, casting a dull glow across the room where Sam and Diane are having breakfast. Lily, oblivious to the weight of the day, hums happily as she eats her cereal, her eyes sparkling with innocence. Diane stares into her coffee cup, the bitterness of it matching the unease brewing in her chest. It's been a week since Marcus's visit, and every day has brought more hope, more promise of something better. But that hope always feels fragile, as if it might shatter at any moment. And then it does. The doorbell rings. Diane hesitates, setting her mug down on the kitchen table. She knows who it is before she even opens the door. The landlord. Mr. Evans, the man who's been threatening eviction for months. Diane's heart drops as she opens the door, bracing herself for the inevitable. Mr. Evans steps inside, his presence as imposing as ever. His eyes scan the apartment, taking in the peeling paint, the cramped space, the worn-out furniture. The judgment is there, plain as day, but Diane doesn't flinch. She's too tired to care about his disdain anymore. "I'm afraid I have bad news," Mr. Evans says, his tone cold and businesslike. "You've got 2 weeks to come up with the overdue rent. After that, I'll have no choice but to start the eviction process." The words hang in the air like a cloud that refuses to dissipate. Diane feels the weight of them press down on her chest, her breath catching as she absorbs the impact. 2 weeks. 2 weeks before they're out on the street, it feels like the end of everything she's fought for, everything she's tried to protect. All the late-night shifts, the hours spent scrubbing floors, and for what? To be pushed out into the cold without a second thought? Diane forces herself to speak, her voice steadier than she feels. We're doing everything we can. Please, just give us more time. Mr. Evans shrugs, unyielding. I've given you more time than I should have. You're lucky I haven't taken further action already. 2 weeks. That's all you've got. He turns to leave without another word, the door closing behind him with a finality that rings in Diane's ears. For a long moment, Diane stands there, the sting of his words cutting deep. The reality of their situation is no longer a distant concern. It's immediate, looming over her like a shadow she can't outrun. Sam stands at the doorframe, his eyes wide with concern. Diane doesn't look at him, she can't. She knows what he must be thinking. She's failed him. She's failed all of them. She's promised them better, a brighter future. But here they are, closer than ever to losing everything. Later that afternoon, after Sam and Lily have gone to their respective places, Diane sits alone in the small living room. The walls seem to close in around her, the ticking of the clock on the wall louder than usual. She thinks about Marcus, how he's been offering them a way out, a chance to break free from this cycle of hardship. But now, with the eviction hanging over them, can she really trust him? She feels foolish for even considering it. Marcus came out of nowhere, a man who had been homeless just days ago. Now he's talking about sponsoring Sam's education and helping her find a better job. It feels too good to be true. Diane's mind spins, torn between hope and doubt. What if Marcus is just another person offering empty promises? What if this is all part of some grand scheme she doesn't understand? She's been taken advantage of before, by landlords, by people who promised her things that never materialized. The thought of trusting Marcus, of letting him into their lives in such a deep way, fills her with fear. Can she really rely on a stranger? The rent, the bills, the constant worry, it all feels like too much. Diane is worn down. She's been trying so hard to make things work on her own, but every attempt seems to come up short. She knows she can't keep doing this forever. The weight of it is crushing. But Marcus's offer feels like a lifeline, a chance to get out of the hole she's been digging for herself and her family. Maybe this is the break we need, she whispers to herself, but even as she says it, doubt creeps in. Or maybe it's just another mistake. Sam had urged her to take the opportunity, to trust Marcus. And for once, Diane sees the hope in her son's eyes, the belief that things can change. But does she have the strength to follow through with it? To put her trust in a man who could very well be the answer to everything they've been fighting for, or the cause of their next downfall? She feels the pressure building in her chest, the weight of her decisions threatening to overwhelm her. It's not just about her anymore. It's about Sam. It's about Lily. And, for the first time, Diane realizes that if she doesn't take this chance, they may never have another one. That night, Diane lies awake, staring at the ceiling, listening to the sounds of the neighborhood outside. The night is quiet, but inside, her mind is anything but still. She thinks about all the nights she's spent worrying about the future, wondering how long they could keep up the act of pretending everything was okay. She's been running on empty for so long, trying to protect Sam and Lily from the truth. But tonight, the truth feels undeniable. She has to make a decision, and it has to be the right one. Diane thinks about the way Sam's face lit up when Marcus had first offered to help. His eyes had sparkled with something she hadn't seen in a long time. Hope. The kind of hope she used to have when she first dreamed of a better life for her family. The kind of hope that seems so far away now, buried beneath the weight of years of struggle. But now, as she lies there in the dark, she realizes something. She can't keep trying to do this on her own. She can't keep fighting this battle by herself, scraping together enough to survive. but never truly living. She has to take this chance, even if it's scary, even if it feels uncertain, because without taking that chance, nothing will ever change. The morning comes, and as the first light of dawn filters through the curtains, Diane makes her decision. She won't let fear hold her back anymore. She'll take Marcus's offer. She'll trust him, because if she doesn't, they'll continue to fall further into the hole they've been digging for years. She stands up, the weight of the decision finally lifting from her shoulders. She knows there's no turning back now. But for the first time in a long time, Diane feels a flicker of hope. She gets out of bed, her feet hitting the cold floor with purpose. The future still feels uncertain, but today she's choosing to move forward. As she prepares breakfast, she thinks about Marcus's words, the words that Sam held on to so tightly. Give it your best shot. That's all she has to do, and for the first time Diane believes that it might actually be enough. In the weeks following Diane's decision to trust Marcus, the changes in their lives begin to unfold quickly, almost like a dream coming true. Diane's first day of job training feels like a leap into the unknown, but it's a leap she knows is necessary. She walks into the training center, her head held high despite the nervousness that still lingers in her chest. This is the opportunity she's been waiting for, and while she's not entirely sure what to expect, she knows that this step could change everything for her family. The job training is intensive, but Diane throws herself into it with the same determination she's applied to everything else in her life. She learns new skills, ons her resume, and gains the confidence that she hasn't had in years. It's a fresh start, a chance to build a career rather than just trying to survive paycheck to paycheck. The work is hard, but she feels a sense of pride in every task she completes, every new thing she masters. Diane knows that this is her path to stability, a path that will give her the ability to support her family without burning herself out. Meanwhile, Sam is thriving in his new school program. He's enrolled in a specialized after-school program that Marcus had arranged, one focused on helping kids like him, kids who need extra support, but who also have potential that's often overlooked. The program is structured, designed to help Sam build confidence in his abilities and prepare him for a brighter future. The curriculum is challenging, but it's engaging in a way that Sam hasn't experienced before. His teachers are encouraging, his classmates supportive, and for the first time Sam feels like he's not just going through the motions, like he's actually learning. Sam's grades improve almost immediately. He goes from barely scraping by to excelling in subjects he once thought he could never understand. It's as if a weight has been lifted off him, and he's able to focus in ways he never could before. The hunger for success, the desire to prove to himself that he's capable of more than just surviving, drives him to push harder, to study longer, and to embrace the idea that he can actually achieve something. One afternoon, after a particularly tough math test, Sam walks home with his head held high, his mind buzzing with excitement. For the first time, he feels proud of himself. His grades are improving, and his teachers have begun to notice his dedication. He's made friends in the program, kids who understand what it's like to fight for something better, kids who share the same struggles but have the same drive to succeed. Sam's confidence has grown, and with it his dreams. He no longer sees his future as a series of survival tactics. Now he sees it as a canvas waiting to be filled with achievements. For the first time in his life, Sam believes that he can be more than what he's been told he is. He can be someone with purpose, someone with a future. As the weeks pass, Sam continues to excel. His confidence continues to grow, not just in his academics, but in his overall sense of self. His teachers commend him for his improvement, and his friends start to look to him as a leader in the program. For Sam, it's not just about grades. It's about proving to himself that he is worthy of success, that he's not bound by the circumstances he was born into. Sam's growing sense of possibility leads him to dream bigger than he ever has before. He begins to think about what he wants to do with his life, something he never allowed himself to imagine before. He has dreams now, dreams of going to college, of finding a career that makes a difference, of one day being able to give back, just like Marcus did. The possibility of a future where he's not stuck in the same cycle of hardship feels real for the first time. The shift in Sam is not just academic. It's emotional and social, too. He forms deep friendships with the other students in the program, bonds built on mutual respect and shared experiences. These friendships give Sam a sense of belonging, something he's longed for but never fully had. He feels like he's part of something bigger than just himself, part of a community of people who understand what it means to struggle, but who also understand the power of perseverance. The more Sam thrives, the more he begins to push himself. He sets goals for himself, both short-term and long-term. With Marcus's help and the opportunities that are opening up, Sam begins to believe that his future could be limitless. Diane's progress in the job training program is equally impressive. After a few short weeks, she finds a stable job with a company that values her newfound skills. The job isn't glamorous, but it's steady, and most importantly, it allows her to be present at home with her children. No more late-night shifts, no more feeling like she's sacrificing her time with Sam and Lily for a paycheck that barely covers the basics. Diane's new job brings a sense of stability to their lives that they've never known before. She no longer has to wonder how they'll make ends meet or worry about losing their home. The pressure that has weighed on her shoulders for so long begins to lift, replaced by a sense of security and peace she hasn't experienced in years. For the first time in a long time, Diane feels like she's not just surviving. She's thriving. She has more energy to spend time with Sam and Lily, to engage with them in a way that she hasn't been able to before. Her relationship with Sam grows stronger as she's able to be more present for him, to support him through his own struggles and triumphs. Diane can finally breathe a little easier, knowing that they're on the path to something better. The family's transformation doesn't go unnoticed. A few months after Marcus's offer, the community hosts an event to celebrate local heroes, people who've made a difference in the lives of others. Marcus is honored for his contributions to the community, particularly for the ways he's helped families like Sam's. Diane and Sam attend the event, and as they listen to the speeches about Marcus's work, they realize just how much he's done for them. After the ceremony, Diane and Sam take a moment to approach Marcus. Standing before him, they both feel a deep sense of gratitude that words can't quite express. Sam, his voice filled with emotion, speaks first. "I don't know what we would have done without you," he says, his eyes shining with sincerity. "You've changed our lives. You gave us a chance we never thought we'd have." Diane smiles at Marcus, her eyes full of tears. "Thank you," she says simply, "for everything. You didn't just change our circumstances, you changed our outlook on life. You gave us hope." Marcus looks at them both, his expression warm and kind. "I'm just doing what I believe in," he says. "Helping others. That's what it's all about." As the event winds down, Diane and Sam leave with a renewed sense of purpose. Their journey is far from over, but they've come so much farther than they ever thought possible. They've found stability, hope, and the chance to build a better future. And with Marcus's help, they know that the path ahead will be brighter than anything they could have imagined before. That evening, after the event, Sam and Diane sit down at the kitchen table, reflecting on everything that has happened. It's been a long road, but they're finally on the other side of the struggle. Sam talks about his plans for the future, his dreams of going to college, of making a difference, of living a life that's full, not just one of survival. Diane smiles, her heart full. She can see the change in her son. He's no longer just trying to make it through the day. He's planning for a future that is full of possibility. As they sit together, Sam realizes that this is what life should feel like: hopeful, full of opportunities, full of potential. The past may have been filled with hardship, but now, They're living a new beginning. And with that, Sam knows that anything is possible. As Sam walks home from the community event, his mind buzzes with everything he's just experienced. The speeches, the applause for Marcus, the gratitude they've expressed, it all feels surreal. He can hardly believe how much has changed in such a short period of time. Sam has lived through so many years of hardship, years where each day felt like a battle, and yet, in just a few months, everything has shifted. The life he once thought was inevitable, a life of scraping by, feels distant now. He looks around at the familiar streets of his neighborhood, the cracked sidewalks, the worn-out buildings, and he sees them differently now. They're not just a symbol of struggle anymore. They're a reminder of how far he's come. Sam doesn't take it for granted anymore. He knows the value of where he's been, how those difficult moments shaped him, but they don't define him. He's moved beyond them. His thoughts return to Marcus, the man who believed in him before Sam even believed in himself. A stranger who saw something in Sam, something that was buried beneath the surface of a life filled with struggle. Marcus's kindness, that simple gesture of helping, set off a chain of events that changed everything. Sam can't help but marvel at how one small act of kindness can ripple outward, creating waves of change that extend far beyond the moment itself. The impact of Marcus's generosity and his belief in Sam's potential has been profound. For so long, Sam had thought of his future as something he couldn't control. It was a distant, unattainable thing. But now, after everything they've been through, Sam sees the future as something he can shape. He knows it won't always be easy, but for the first time, he believes in his ability to build it. The kindness he showed Marcus, a simple, almost instinctive act, has now become the cornerstone of everything he's worked for. It's a reminder that even when we have little to give, kindness can still have a powerful impact. He smiles as he walks, feeling the weight of gratitude settle in his chest. They've come so far, and it's only the beginning. The future still feels uncertain, but it no longer frightens Sam. The uncertainty that once felt like an insurmountable mountain now seems like a challenge to embrace. As Sam looks ahead, he knows that there will still be obstacles, still be difficult days. But he no longer faces those challenges with fear. He faces them with hope, with a sense of possibility. Before, his dreams were clouded with doubt. He had no idea how to escape the cycle of hardship that seemed destined to repeat itself. But now, Sam knows that his dreams are not out of reach. They're within his grasp, waiting for him to take hold of them. He thinks about his education, about the opportunities Marcus helped him unlock. Sam never imagined he would have a chance to excel in school, let alone dream of going to college. And yet, here he is, doing things he never thought possible. He knows now that the future is something to build, not something to fear. Sam's future is a reflection of the work he puts into it, the choices he makes, and the people who support him. He's learned that he doesn't have to do it alone. And the most important lesson of all, he's not limited by his past or his circumstances. The future is shaped by his will and the support of those who believe in him, like Marcus, like his mom, like the friends he's made along the way. The future feels full of promise, a promise that Sam is determined to fulfill. As Sam arrives home, the sound of laughter drifts from the living room. Diane and Lily are talking, a lightness in their voices that Sam hasn't heard in so long. It's a small moment, but to Sam it feels like everything. His family, once burdened by uncertainty and fear, now feels like a team. The tension that used to hang in the air has lifted, replaced by a new sense of unity. Diane's stability, thanks to her new job, has given their family a sense of direction. She's not just surviving anymore, she's thriving, and that shift has brought a newfound peace to their home. The late-night shifts and constant worry are gone, replaced by the knowledge that they can face each day without the looming threat of financial ruin. For Sam, this shift in their family dynamic means everything. The pressure he used to feel to hold things together, to protect his mother and sister, has lifted. It wasn't that he wanted to stop helping, he always wanted to do more. But now, with his mom's stability and the new opportunities ahead, Sam can focus on being a kid. He can focus on his dreams, knowing that his mom is there for him, fully present, fully able to help him with his journey. Lily's laughter fills the space around him, and Sam feels a warmth in his chest. She's always been a source of light in their home, but now she's even more carefree, more secure. Diane has time for her, and that's something Sam could never take for granted. Their family is healing, not just from the immediate struggles of poverty, but from the emotional toll that the constant fight for survival had on them. Diane's newfound hope, Sam's blossoming confidence, and Lily's carefree joy have created a dynamic where they can finally look forward to what's ahead instead of fearing it. Sam walks into the living room, joining his mom and sister, and sits down at the table. It's a simple moment, but it's one that Sam cherishes. They're together, stronger than they've ever been. Diane smiles at him, her eyes soft and proud. She doesn't say anything, there's no need. Sam knows what she's thinking. She's proud of him, of how far they've come. And for the first time, Sam feels like he's truly deserving of that pride. As they sit together, sharing a quiet evening in their apartment, Sam reflects on everything they've been through. It hasn't been easy, but they've come out the other side. They've found stability, hope, and, most importantly, a renewed sense of purpose. Sam knows the road ahead won't always be easy. There will be moments of doubt, of frustration, and of fear. But he's no longer walking that road alone. He has his family beside him, and he has the support of people like Marcus who showed him that kindness can change everything. The future, once a blurry concept, is now something Sam feels ready to face. He has dreams to chase, goals to reach, and a family to care for. And for the first time, Sam believes he can do all of it. He's not limited by his past, and he's not bound by his circumstances. The future is full of possibilities, and Sam is ready to take hold of them. As Sam looks around at his family, Diane smiling at him, Lily sitting beside him, their lives now unfolding in a way they never could have imagined, he realizes that the most important thing they've gained isn't just stability or opportunities. It's the sense of unity, of hope, of knowing that together they can overcome anything. And that, Sam knows, is the foundation of their new beginning.